Ahoj, vítáme všechny, které zajímá život a studium v USA. Jsme tady, abychom vám přinesli další dávku inspirace a informací. Já jsem Adam.
A já jsem Ondra.
A vítáme vás u Studygate podcastu, kde se společně pustíme do rozkrývání nástrah i nových příležitostí, které si pro nás Spojené státy připravily.
Ať už plánujete studovat v USA, nebo jste prostě jen zvědaví, čím se život ve státech liší, těšíme se, že vám přineseme nový pohled na věc, ale také praktické tipy od našich hostů. Těšíme se na vás u dalších dílů Studygate podcastu.
I don't know. It's not such a big deal if you wear your shoes in the house. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but for me, svíčková it's not a special dish, man. It's every small town has a square, an old square. I'm sure there's a cathedral in that square, and we have highways like the size of Prague. Oh, he influences people based on the things that he does, hopefully in a positive way. Je to těžký, je to složitý.
Chtěli byste studovat v USA? Mrkněte na náš web www.study-gate.cz a využijte naší bezplatné konzultace a slevy na naše služby 10% s kódem CHCI do USA 10. Přejeme vám příjemný poslech a moc děkujeme za vaši podporu. Welcome to the Studygate podcast. Today with Nicolas Russo, an American native from Texas. He is widely known on social media as the Vanilla Show. His humorous videos about language barriers and the complexity of the Czech language for foreigners have gained many followers. Besides being an influencer, he is also involved in basketball and hosting events in the Czech Republic. Hi, Nick.
How's it going? Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
In our podcast, we focus on Czechs and Slovaks living in the United States, but you are an American living in Czech Republic. Does learning a new language help you to understand the culture and navigate everyday life?
Yeah, I think that's an easy answer, of course. Actually, before I came to the Czech Republic, I was learning Spanish because I lived in Texas. So I wanted to I wanted to get along better with my Spanish students that I was teaching. So I thought, if I can learn their language, then I will better be able to teach them and build a better relationship with them. So when I moved to the Czech Republic, of course, I love new cultures and stuff. So I tried to learn the language, and it can definitely teach you more about the people and the culture and the history and traditions, like how Czech people do what they do. So for sure.
Mm-hmm. And can you name the most striking differences you have noticed between living in the US and the Czech Republic?
Yeah, between peoples?
Between people or everyday life?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of differences. First of all, I find that American people, I don't mean this as an insult, but I feel like American people have a very work-centered mindset. Work and money come near the top of the list when it comes to life. And I feel like here in the Czech Republic, it's more like family and enjoying life. It doesn't mean to say Czech people are lazy, but it's a clear difference to me where the priority is. And I feel like when you talk to Americans, it's money and capitalism first, which is kind of what we're taught immediately when we're born. And here you can just see they're not so in a hurry to finish some deals or they're on vacation for 2 weeks. You're not going to hear back from them. But also, even like shoes in Texas, I don't know. It's not such a big deal if you wear your shoes in the house. I mean, of course, we don't want to have muddy shoes on the carpet, but we don't have an issue to wear our shoes in the house. And here you have to change your shoes before you go to the gym. At work, you had to change your shoes before you go to work. That to me is number one. Like, people would be shocked in America if they saw that.
Yeah, I agree. This shocked me when I first came to the United States. This particular moment was like, okay, you don't need to change shoes. But what brought you from Texas all the way to the Czech Republic?
Yeah, it's a kind of a wild story, but I met a woman who was a basketball player, and it turns out she had Czech citizenship. That wasn't just didn't know that immediately, but when she finished college, she was a really good basketball player. So she said she wants to play in Europe. So I was like, hey, I'm down to explore and try a new life. So I said, yeah, let's move to Europe. So we moved to Europe. And of course, because she had Czech citizenship, I found a job in Prague. And she actually had a job in Chemnitz, playing basketball, of course, pro. And then we broke up after like 2 weeks immediately. So I just decided to stick around and explore this new life. And so then I've been here ever since. I think you'll find that most American men who are here, it's usually related to a lady.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little jump because I have a question from different topic, but I'm really interested in this topic. What is your favorite Czech food?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people talk bad about Czech food, and I guess maybe I'm just not a picky eater because I like Czech food. I think it's a little bit too fried. A lot of it is kind of heavy and fried, but yeah, I mean, well, for example, Zizek, for me, it's delicious. I could eat 100 of them, but some people say, nah, that's Austrian, like you cannot take it. So unfortunately, I hate to say this, but for me, svíčková it's not a special dish, man. It's sauce and knedlík or potatoes or whatever it is. To me, it's not something special, but any typical Czech meal that's being had tastes good. So like I have no problem with it. So I really like Czech food.
We definitely know that food represents culture. So if you could bring one American food to the Czech Republic, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know, this is gonna sound weak, but blueberry bagels. I just miss blueberry bagels. They don't exist here, and neither do classic glazed donuts. That does not exist. And people say, yeah, we have donuts. You just need to go to Lidl or Albert. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm talking about just glazed donuts. I swear it doesn't exist.
Maybe it's time to reach out to Krispy Kreme to make a franchise in Czech Republic.
And generally, do you miss anything about American life?
Yeah, that's a common question, and I think that the answer for me is only friends. You know, like best friends that you grew up with and you can laugh with, and just like they know you so well. You know, they're just not here. So I miss my friends and family. And number two would be sports and entertainment. I think no country in the world does sports and entertainment like America. And I can't even watch, like my Dallas Mavericks just lost to the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. And to be honest, I didn't watch a single game because they're on at 2 a.m. So I think sports, entertainment, family, friends, that's about the only thing that I miss. I miss also space. In America, everything is you just have more space, bigger houses, bigger streets, bigger sidewalks, bigger cars. Everything is a lot bigger. And here in Prague, everything is compact and like 2,000 years old. So you need to like make use of every little corner of every little apartment block. So those are the things I miss.
Yeah, that's true. Listeners heard that you said Řízek, svíčková. So how difficult is the Czech language for you, and how did you learn it?
You know, this is my analysis of that. The Czech vocabulary, výslovnost, no, it's easy, man. It's easy because there's no hidden words, there's no hidden letters. Like when I read Czech, everything is as you see it, you know? Like, so for me, learning new Czech words is easy. The problem is the rules and how to arrange the structure of a Czech sentence. Like pravidla. Je to těžký, je to složitý. Because it's like speaking backwards to me. I would never think to form the Czech an English sentence in this way. It's like almost reversed sometimes. So for me, that's the only barrier now for me is.
But you sound good. You sound good. You have even good pronunciation. So that's pretty uncommon, I would say, for foreigners.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've been working on it.
And what are the most common Czech phrases that every foreigner should know?
Yeah, I think, you know, you just need to lead with some Czech, and that will break down a lot of barriers for you. So, for example, people walk in, they say, Dobrý den. You know, when you leave, now I just say naskla, I don't say naskladano. You know, or when I see friends, I'm saying nazdar. You know, maybe ahoy is too formal or something. But as long as you can get the basics down of any language, then this is going to help you to break in, and then slowly you can learn little by little more and more. You also need to learn how to say I don't speak Czech. Do you speak English? That's a big one.
We know that in America, many people do small talk, but in Czech Republic, I would say it really doesn't exist. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced living in the Czech Republic?
Yeah, wow. Well, that's a big one. I think my first couple of months here for me was some kind of nightmare, really. I mean, culture shock and loneliness and like, yeah, in America, I would just speak and say whatever. I'm not afraid to be like, hey, excuse me, can you help me with this? I'm looking for this shoe, or like, hey, how do I get to this place? Or I'm really not afraid to speak. But when it's another language, and you come to find that Czech people are really just not going to be so friendly and open and helpful to help you get what you want, this for me represented a really big problem. So I ended up getting frustrated and angry because I'm just looking for help and it's not coming because Czech people are kind of more, I don't know how to explain it, but they're more like they keep to themselves. They're not exactly as open, let's say, as Texas people are. So yeah, small talk. But once you make Czech friends, and once you share a couple beers, man, it's the same. You're fine. You just need to crack into the culture and show that you're willing to be a little Czech, and it's their country. So you're a guest, so you need to do what they do, and then you can get in there and you can break into the culture zone, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And you already mentioned that you traveled quite a lot because of the basketball. So do you have some favorite place in Czech Republic?
You're not gonna like this, but every city, every little town looks the same. It has the same setup. Every small town has a square, an old square. I'm sure there's a cathedral in that square and a market in that square, usually on the weekend. And there's farms on the outside. And, but there's some really nice places like in Pardubice and Karlovy Vary, for example. There's really nice big parks and chill places. And yeah, I think I've been to České Budovice like a million times for basketball, but to me, it's just not like a special city. It's just like, yeah, it's just another town. Prague to me is the best. It's the capital. It's got great attractions, the river, the castle, the gardens, it's like, for me, it's like the center of Czech culture. So for me, I just stick with Prague.
Mm-hmm. You already mentioned it, but how has your I would say, lifestyle changed since moving in Prague?
Yeah, well, every American who comes to visit me, they're shocked at how much walking I do.
Mm-hmm.
They're shocked. And I just say, yeah, we just need to walk up here and take a couple of lefts and we'll be there. And they're like, what? Like, it's incredible because we're so used to driving, which I totally understand. So slowly I had to transition from driving to taking public transportation, which I never did before, to now like walking. So to be honest, my health is probably the best it's ever been in my entire life. And I'm turning 35 in 2 days. So like the health factor is totally different. The portion sizes are totally different. The ingredients are totally different. And it just leads to a much healthier lifestyle and much more probably efficient for the planet. When I visited back in Texas and I was looking at these monster cars and monster highways, and I was just thinking like, it has its advantages, but for me, man, that's like, in Europe, in Prague, we have highways like the size of Prague, like it's crazy. So I think that I've learned here maybe to appreciate slowing life down a little bit more. Go to the park. You don't have to work 24/7 or on the weekends. Try and take some of that, learn a little bit of that. So that's kind of been my thing is just learn that there's a different style of life that can be had. It's not all about work and it's not all about bigger and better and more. It's just kind of, you can live a more simple life and still be satisfied.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever tried teaching English in the Czech Republic?
Yeah. Well, my first job here was as a teacher, but I was not teaching English language. It was an international school full of really rich kids. So they were going to Dubai on the weekends and the Maldives on the weekends. So I was just teaching them everything: physics, biology, chemistry, journalism, everything except math and English. Actually, I was teaching them, but I was doing private English lessons, which I actually really enjoyed because it's one-on-one. You can just teach people how to speak better in English. So I definitely did some one-on-one English lessons for sure. I like that.
Mhm. As I said in the introduction, you are influencer. So how did you get started on social media?
Oh man. Well, in college, I had a YouTube show. I always wanted to be an entertainer. So I had a nice little YouTube show back when YouTube was first starting. So I had like musical guests and I was filming stuff around campus and I had like a little buzz around the city, like let's say local celebrity. But then when I graduated, I had to get a real job and I just couldn't continue. So I stopped, but I had an Instagram page and I tried to post like cool pictures of myself or whatever, but that doesn't get you to the point of influencer or celebrity. Like you can't just be like, look at me 24/7. That's not going to get you followers. So then when I was in Europe, during the pandemic, during COVID, me and my wife were like, right before that, we were making videos on, let's say, TikTok, about being like cool teachers in the Czech Republic. And at that time, there was like 4 cool teachers making videos in the country. So we happened to be in a space where there was nobody else. So we were like dominating the market and we were growing super fast. And then it just evolved. And then we started to figure out how to do it like work, like a business, like a factory, like what makes a good viral video? How do you make money from that? So ever since basically I would say right before the pandemic, then we started to do it on a bigger scale.
Mhm. And does influencing on social media influences your daily life?
What do you mean?
Like if it changed you until you start with the influencing?
Yeah, well, we both decided to stop teaching and do influencing full time. But I want to say that I don't call myself an influencer. I believe that that's the job of other people to say, oh, he influences people based on the things that he does, hopefully in a positive way. I just consider myself a content creator. Yeah. So I'm an entertainer. I make videos. And of course, advertising companies want you to steer them in the direction of a certain product or shampoo or shoe or something like that. So they hope that you influence them to buy a product. But in general, now we do it full time. So every single day we're editing, every single day we're going to events, we're trying to grow, and we have like our calendars packed with things that we should do. And even today I should film a giveaway for Popeyes. If you know this,
Nice.
yeah, I need to film that, and it has to be sent for approval. And if they don't like it, I need to redo it, and then I need to post it, and then I need to, govern that and watch over it. So influencing or being a content creator, this new job in the entertainment space is a 24/7 job. So I would say, yeah, it definitely changes everything. I know this is going to sound, I'm not trying to brag or like sound weird, but you can go on the tram and people want to take photos of you, or you go to the mall and people want to take photos of you, and I love it. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I love it, but it's definitely something that the average person does not experience. Like people just staring at you, and then like 10 seconds later, they come and ask for a photo. I'm not saying I'm even that big. I'm just saying like that life is totally different now that we chose that path.
Mhm. And we also said that you play basketball. So how would you compare the basketball culture in the United States and in the Czech Republic?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Well, you guys know basketball is not the top sport in the country, correct?
Sure.
I think it's probably not top 5. So the issue is that, of course, the KNBL, the top basketball league, is full of talented Czech basketball players, of course. But in general, the level of talent in the country is low. So in America, I would not even be able to like compete at the level that I am able to do here. So I still compete nationally here in the second league. And in America, I would never be able to do that because there's just so many more better players in America. And in the Czech Republic, because it was not that many people, let's say, play basketball or whatever, I was able to just use my skills here and make a name for myself in that space as well. So yeah, but I mean, the basketball community here is hardcore and they love it. It's just small and it's growing because of people like Krejci for the Atlanta Hawks and Sadaransky, who's playing in Spain. And, that's also part of my side mission here is to grow the game of basketball. So.
Mm-hmm. And you used to play American football too. So can you play it in Czech Republic as well? Is there possibilities?
I can, but the thing is I tore my ACL before I came to Europe, and my job in American football was the kicker. So I really cannot use my knee the same way, to be whipping the football with my knee that way, but I can still shoot and run. So basketball is perfectly fine. Here they have the Prague Lions, and they have American football teams, which I'm a part of, helping promote and going into those events, of course. But I will never play American football again. No.
And can you compare your experiences with the school sports systems in the United States and I guess non-existing in the Czech Republic?
Yeah, it's a completely different system. Where to start? For example, in America, you go to elementary school, so there's no sports. And then like you go to middle school and you're doing sports for the middle school, which is like 3 years. Let's say 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. So your middle school has its own football team. So you play for them for 3 years, and then you move on to the high school, which is all within the same district. It's like a feeder system into your high school, but sometimes there's multiple high schools. When you finish high school, you play 4 years of sports in high school for your high school. Then you pick a university that you want to go play for. So you can leave the state, you can go to some place completely else. Hopefully they want you, they give you a scholarship, because university is not free in America. So a lot of people use sports as a vehicle to get an education. So you go from high school to university to play in university. And when university is over, then hopefully you're good enough to play professional. But in Europe, it's like you could be playing pro as like a 14-year-old if you're really, really good. Like it's like a totally different system.
We are now getting to the end, and there's a couple of questions from our listeners. So I would like to know this one. Are Czech people friendly to foreigners?
I'm not a fan of big, broad statements like, yes, Czech people are this. I really don't believe in that as far as life goes. But I would say in general, no. And they don't have to be, and that's okay. I'm just saying it's more like a scale. And they're more on the other end of like just keeping to themselves and helping their own, community. You're more likely probably going to get a rude encounter than if you were in Texas. So that's a tough question. I don't want to generalize, but I would say it is true that if you're a foreigner and you're not trying to use Czech language, it's not going to go well for you. They're going to immediately be like, no, I'm not helping you. But a lot of people they're vulnerable to speak English. A lot of Czech people actually know English well enough to help you, but because it's vulnerable and you can feel bad and awkward, they would rather just be like, nah, I don't speak English. So, it saves them some embarrassment. So it's a little bit of that. And so they're not so friendly, but you need to break into their culture and then they will be.
Yeah, that actually brings us to another question from our listeners, because in the Czech Republic, many people fear speaking English because they worry about making mistakes, But how do people in the US view foreigners speaking English with mistakes like Chenglish, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like we don't care. We just don't. It doesn't cross my mind. The more culturally accepted you are, the more like, I don't know, intelligent you are. You understand that other people are trying, so you're not going to make fun of them. You just have to do it. For example, the j letter.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, for 2 years, I probably was trying to skip all those words because I didn't want to be made fun of. But to be honest, man, you just do it. You just do it. Like, even now I speak Czech, I know it's not so smooth and I don't care. Like, if you make fun of me or whatever, I just am past that point. So I think that American people just, maybe it's in movies or like, of course, there's a couple bullies or a couple of rude people around the world. Of course, they're going to make fun of you or like laugh, but you have to break through it. And that's easier said than done. But you just have to literally like power through it. And if someone's laughing at you, you got to be like, yeah, okay, well, like, can you help me or not? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this adult professionally. So I don't think they care. And people should be more Czech people should be more confident in speaking English because it's the only way you can learn the language and it's the only way you can get the confidence. It's building on itself.
Mm-hmm. It's very nice that you are telling this because I am also feared if I need to speak with some native speaker, but it's nice to hear this. I have maybe the last question. Can you name one Czech word you found the most difficult to learn?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to come up off the top of my head, but I know that for a long time, and I will still say it wrong. But when you want to congratulate somebody, or we congratulate you, and people are saying blahu přejujeme or something like that,
Yeah.
really, it's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous word.
Mhm.
There's other stuff that I've seen because I watch movies with the caption with Czech subtitles, so I can learn.
Oh, okay.
And some of the words that pop up on the screen are absolutely long and ridiculous, and like I'm like pausing and taking a screenshot of the long word. So I cannot think of any more words that are like really hard, but that was one that I really hate. And yeah, sorry, I don't have like another one.
No, I mean, I think this is a good word, blahopřejeme. I guess it's really hard.
But the thing is that like Czech letters are together in a way that you would never see in the English language. So your brain has never seen like I don't know, a Z and a J and a U all together in the same word. So when you're trying to read and learn Czech, your brain is like, I have no practice with this letter combination. So it's like, okay, that can be a stumbling block for sure. So it's
Mhm.
usually words that I never saw this letter combination before. So that's
Mhm.
usually where it comes from.
Are there any American communities in the Czech Republic?
There are, but I try and stay away from them.
Okay.
For me, I don't know. I think that culturally, I have changed over the last 5 years, and there's things in American culture that I just don't agree with anymore. And there's a shift in how I see the world and how Americans see the world. And when I meet somebody who's in the Czech Republic fresh for the first time from America, I can still sense their views on certain things. And in my head, I'm like, ooh, that's how I used to think before. Or you know, so now like people assume, oh, he's American, you're American, you guys should get along. But it's like, no, I'm much more deep than that. I cannot just link with somebody because they're American. Like,
Mhm.
there's just cultural differences now where I think the European way is better, and their American mindset is like almost cringy to me because I can see how I used to be or whatever. I don't know. Of course, when I was working as a teacher at an international school, there were lots of Americans, so we shared some time. But for me, it was always like I'm in Europe to travel and to see Europe and to be in other cultures, you know. So I want to have. So I actually, it's strange, but I have probably more Slovak friends than any other country in Europe. To be honest, I don't know how that happened, but like at my wedding, maybe there were more Slovaks than Czechs for sure. And I had a basketball event, and there were 7 Slovak people there, and like it's so I don't really gravitate towards Americans anymore. They just usually have a mindset that it's not for me anymore. So that's
Mhm.
obviously not speaking to everybody, but I've tried to make friends. For example, basketball players who come to play pro, and we hang out and stuff, and then like it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, we cannot just be friends just because we're American. We just don't think the same. So yeah, I usually don't gravitate towards them.
Okay, so my very last question. What advice would you give to the Americans who are considering traveling or moving to the Czech Republic?
And I absolutely believe that Americans need to live in another country for a couple of years. I know that not everybody has the money to do that, but if you get the chance, you should absolutely take it because it will change your worldview. And I don't want to be too deep, but sometimes we laugh at other countries because we say they buy into the propaganda and we can't believe what their people think of the world, and we're like, ah, that's so crazy. Why would they think this? But whatever country you're born into, you're going to believe you're just kind of indoctrinated into the system that is giving you education and your world. So I think you just got to bounce out of that for a little bit. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but experience something else. So you got to go live in another country, do things how they do it, and then compare the two systems. Like for example, right now I'm on paternity leave, maternity leave, mateřská dovolená.
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, that's not even possible for women in America. You know what I mean? So unless you experience it and live it, and like my child doesn't have to worry about paying for college. in America, that's a gigantic burden. Or when I needed to go to the hospital because I thought I broke my ankle, and the ambulance came, picked me up, gave me MRI. Yeah, that was $0. I paid $0. So of course, I just would rather see the tax money go back to the people instead of to a $1 trillion military. But that's just my opinion. So I just think unless Americans leave and experience it, they're not going to listen. They're not going to. I can't just say, oh, I don't know, there's better systems out there. You know, they're like, nah, this is America. Of course it's great. It's like, listen, I just want you to go experience other countries and see for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. We appreciate your time. Enjoy celebrations of your birthday. And we have seen online that you are expecting a second child, baby. Nice. So congratulations from us.
Thank you.
And have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Pokud vás tento příběh zaujal a chtěli byste si život v USA vyzkoušet na vlastní kůži, podívejte se na náš web study.gate.cz.
A teď už jenom stačí dát odběr, ať vám neutečou další super epizody se zajímavými hosty. Moc děkujeme.